Right, let's go ahead now and start decorating our Brad Wallet book. Okay, I've already pre-cut all my pieces of pattern paper, and if you went over to my website and subscribed and signed up for the free PDF, you'd have done yours as well. So let's start getting these stuck down. I'm going to use this time the all-purpose glue for sticking these down rather than the tacky glue. I tend to use the tacky glue for construction and the all-purpose for gluing down. Let me bring that camera down a bit more, that's better. Right, so let's go ahead and start adding these elements. So as you can see with the construction, if you worked along step by step with me, you know the video's not very long at all, so great to do. Okay, let's just open this up where the magnets are. Just wanted to be a little temperamental still, so let's get the pattern paper on it and then it will all start to settle down. Okay, checking that's the right one for there, making sure I've got the right one. Now I think I've got the wrong one, that's why I was just double checking that actually. Yes, just double checking that, and I'm thinking I'm going to take a little slither off there because I like that. I like to have an 1/8 of an inch gap all the way around. I think it looks nicer. And this one should have been, let me just check. Yes, that should have been 3 3¾ Yes, it's just a little bit big, mine. Let me just trim mine down. Not to worry. So I'm just going to ink that edge. I've used, as I said to you, I'm using the remnants of a paper collection I used for photo folio number 4 I did. So it's been a great way to use this up rather than me having to go and buy something else. I'm just going to take the double-sided tape backing off this because I think that makes life a little bit easier. So let me just take this off. There we go. And what I might do, my magnets have got that strip coming down, I might put a strip across as well just to secure that side of things. Let me just snip that with my scissors. I just like to be a bit of belt and braces sometimes. I don't want to decorate it all and then have it falling apart. That's not what you want, is it? I know the magnets are going through the pattern paper, but I'd rather be sure sometimes. You know, the other ones I've got under cardstock, so I'm not as concerned with those. But it's these ones that are being tricky. This double-sided tape, this is meant to be easy finger lift. It's not very easy finger lift for me. It could be the big studio light I've got on to do the filming, but I think it's just playing me up. But we're there. Right, so let's get this one stuck down. So I've done this video separately because obviously I know some of you are, you know, you don't want to see how I decorate a project, and that's absolutely fine. That's not a problem at all. So, you know, it's very hard sometimes to try and please everybody, and I do try my best to do so. I'm just going to open this out and just rub on the back of there. I could have put the magnets on this side of this to come out, but I didn't. So while we've got this open, let's decorate these bits. So let me bring this. Oh, we haven't done the back one. Let's do the back one first. Getting carried away as I'd opened it up. Wonder why I got that big piece left. That's to go on the back here, so let's get that stuck down. Okay, that's it. It's nice to do. I think there's nothing nicer than getting your crafty space or your craft room and putting a project together in a day. I mean, this one, as I say, the construction that I filmed took half an hour. So if you crafted along with me, you'd have done the construction in half an hour once you got your supplies together, and then obviously then to decorate it. So I would say once you've got all your papers together, you could easily put this project together in a morning or an afternoon. Now I'm putting the same paper on my gussets. You don't have to, but I just think it carries that look all the way along, so it looks quite nice. And I've also got strips for the top and bottom as well, but as I say, it's personal preference. You don't have to. It does look quite nice with the pale colour. And that is another thing to think about, the colour of your cardstock. I'm doing cream cardstock here to go with the paper collection that I've used, but the other project I used with the Graphic 45, I used black cardstock. And that's another thing to think about, is what cardstock or colour cardstock you're using when you're putting these paper collections together. Okay, so slide that along there, staying put. There we go. Okay, so that's that bit. So let's now open it up and let's start working on this bit here. So what I've done, because this opens out like that, I'll just twist that up, and we've got this paper here. I've chosen the same pattern paper to put on that side. Don't have to, it's just me. I just think it looks nice, so it all just flows on quite nicely. So let's get that stuck down. I was just fortunate enough with these this paper that I had left to do that. I mean, the Graphic 45 one again was a project that I'd done, and it's just using the scraps up of a bit of the Graphic 45, a bit of the stationery collection from Prima. So I just went through all the bits I got left. You know, those nice paper collections, we don't like to throw them away, and these little wallets are a great way to use that type of thing up, because it means you can still put them in a lovely project, but you don't need to have much of the paper to do that. So I think it's just lovely, just a really nice way to use those up. So now let's decorate the inside here. I'm going to move my papers up here a minute because they're getting in my way. So this time in the middle here, I've gone for a bit of a glittery floral look, which is quite nice. I mean, you could make these wallets, keep them plain with the cardstock, and if you didn't have any pattern paper, you could go ahead and stamp rather than using pattern papers. Quite easily done. And then I've got my two bits here to go on my pocket fronts, but obviously I've got my half circle cutouts, so I'm going to do a bit of eyeballing here. Okay, so this is how I tend to do it. I could go in with the punch the next size up, but I wanted to show you, in case you don't have a punch the next size up, what you would do. So let's just see if this happens. So what I do is I cut it, and that's the same, but I want to bring it down a little bit more. So I just go in on one side a little bit and take that bit off, and I go in on that side, take a little bit off. So if I had the next size up punch, I could do it quite easily, but I want to show you, if you don't have the next size up punch, you can also do it. Okay, so I'll stick this one on and I'll show you again what I've done. Okay, so pop that one on there. So I've got that little, it's hard to see with the cream. I was going to film it with the black, and it's hard to see with the black as well, but hopefully you'll see. So let me do this again on this side so you can see. So I've got my half circle there. Okay, so my pattern paper fits on, but I've got my 1/8 of an inch all the way around. So if I look at where my half circle is, punch, then bring it back, and then I can look at where I need to punch again. So I need to take a little bit more off this side. Just checking that. Yes, I'm quite happy with that. In fact, I might just take a little slither off that end there. Yep, that's happy. I'm happy. So don't think, you know, just because, oh, well, I've got that punch but I haven't got the next size up. You haven't got to. Just wanted to show you that, because yes, I have got the next size up punch, but I just wanted to show you how you can get round these things if you don't. Because at the end of the day, we don't want to go and buy things that we're only going to use a few times, do we? So, and you know me, I'm always up for saving you from buying things you don't necessarily need, and also for crafting with a few things as possible. A lot of the ladies I scrapbook with tell me that. They say to me, how do you manage to make such beautiful projects and you've only got a few items, you know, when I was first crafting? But you can do it quite easily. You don't need a lot at all. Okay, so I've got a couple of strips here of the blue. Now I talked about this line here that I was going to cover with some strips. So that's covering that join up. Do you remember that join that we made to hold that into place? So I can just see a bit of glue seeping out there. Let me just wipe that away. Let me just wipe that out of the way. Don't want to ruin it at this stage, do I? There we go. Oh, there we go. Got bits of wet glue all over my hands now. Never mind. Right. And then I've got another strip for up here as well. We'll try this time and not put too much glue on. Got a bit carried away with that one. Right. I've got one to pop in there as well. Just finishes it off, I think. Makes it look a bit more professional, don't you? Right. So that bottom bit's there done. So we're now going to look at the top pocket here. So let me fold that up out of the way. So we're looking at this top pocket here, and I've cut the piece of paper, but as you can see, it's going to be too big because I've already glued down, and obviously where you put your wet glue will also depend. So I need to trim some off here. I'm going to probably take just under half an inch. But in some ways I always think it's best to try it out first. So let me bring that away. So I'm just going to tuck that in under there. So it's not going to interfere with the, that's it, won't interfere with my fold line, and it's going to slip in behind there. So I just need to run ink pad along there, and then I'm going to show you how you're going to make the pocket sizes. Okay, I'm just going to slide that in, push that down as far as it would go. That's it. Press that down. Now cut two pieces out for my pockets, but obviously they're going to be too big for my pockets. So again, I'm going to eyeball. So I'm looking at, I'm going to cut a piece off, so I'm going to go there to probably there. Another way you can do it is you could slide it in the pocket, but it's going to be too won't go right in my pocket. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go there to there, and I'm wondering if I've got a pencil around, and I haven't, so I'm going to use my craft knife. So I've got my 1/8 of an inch gap here, and I'm going to go make a nick there, and I'm going to make a nick in there, and I'm just going to go in with my scissors. At the end of the day, it's a piece of paper, and I haven't got to worry about it. If this doesn't cut right, I've got some more from the scraps of the project. I can do it again, but I'm happy with that. I want a bit more off here, because the nice thing about it as well that you've got to think about is once you cut one pocket, you can then cut your other pocket quite easily because they're the same. So I'm happy with that now. Now, in order to make the one the other side, let me move these scraps out of the way. In order to make the one this side, that's going to go here. If I fold that over that way, so you've got a bit like dressmaking, pattern to pattern, and then I cut up there, that will fit, and that will fit. So I'll just ink that edge, and I'll just ink that edge, and we'll stick those down. There we go. So that wasn't too hard, was it? Pop this one on here. Make sure I've got them lined up nicely. Yes, that's lined up nicely. Right, now let's look at what we've got here, because now we're going into, I don't know whether we're going to do the bottom or the, let me have a look what I've got size wise. So that could go there and there. And then yes, I was going to follow my blue in on the top there and there, yes. Right. Okay, so let's start now with this bottom flap. So I've already cut my papers again. I've inked the edges. I haven't done big distressing on the edges of these. I've just inked the edges just to take that just cut look off. It's just something I don't like to see. Depends on the paper collection really. So I haven't gone big distressing, and again, you don't have to. It depends on the paper collection that you're actually using at the time as well, I think. Whether you need to go for that distressed look or just go like I've done and just done the edges of it. So let's now do this bottom one here. The nice thing about using the odds and ends of a paper collection is you know everything is going to match because it's all from the same collection. But as I say, this could quite easily have been decorated out of my scrap box, and I'm sure a lot of you crafters have got a scrap box out there. I do hear from a lot of you, which is great, and that's why I've been absolutely amazed with how the YouTube has taken off. You know, I've just been astounded by it. I must thank Marie again for replying and saying, can you do a tutorial on that project? Because if she hadn't, I probably would never have done that, and I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today and sharing these lovely projects with you. So it's just a nice way to say thank you, Marie, for letting me take the plunge and do something that I perhaps wouldn't have done. And if you out there are crafting and thinking, well, I made a nice project and I haven't shown anybody, film it, show it out there on YouTube, put some pictures on Facebook, share it with people. People love to see what you've done, and that's the nice thing about it. Now I'm going to wonder whether to go, I think that one's going to go in there. And then there's that one and that one. I think I'm going to have to trim those down. Right, let's go plain blue again. This is where we do some little tweaks, because this is it. At the end of the day, I've given you these measurements. I don't normally give measurements for my free tutorials. You normally only get a PDF measurement sheet when you do my online workshops. So I've done this as a bit of a treat for my YouTube followers this time. So I think I'm going to trim that down. Yes, I'm going to trim that one down. So I've just taken that off again. Yeah. But what I'm going to do is that bit I've trimmed off, because it goes where the fold is, I could stick it where the fold line is, and I think I might do that just so it finishes it off and makes it look nice. Let's just follows that pattern along. Just wondering whether to or not. Shall I or shan't I? Yes, I think we will. I'm going to take a little bit more off it so it folds properly, because that's the other thing. This is where you really have to be careful when you're cutting these tiny little strips out the way. And then I've got to be even more careful now to try and ink that. And if I run just a bead of glue all the way along there, and if I'm careful, I can attach it where I've cut it off so the patterns match, which makes that even more professional, don't you think? Let me just move that up a little bit. I need to move that up just that little bit there. There we go. That's nice. I'm quite happy with that. Right, let's open this side up now. So one is going to go on there, and I'm going to have to cut a slither off this one because it's too big. Oh, there's nothing much more enjoyable than crafting. I just love it. I really do. I must say, there's not many days I'm not doing crafting of some description. So I'm just really fortunate. So I'm going to pop that down onto there. And then this one in here. And pop that on there. It's all starting to come together now. And the nice thing is that the paper I'm using is making the project more sturdy, but also your glueys. As I've said to you before in projects that I've done, the glue does make your projects more sturdy. So let's start adding these elements together. So we've just got the side bits to do now. So I've gone for the same colour here to tie that in nicely, so we're getting that same look. Plus the fact I didn't want to waste these little bits of paper because it's too pretty. That's it. I'm just going to fold that one out like that, press down. And then I'm going to go, let's go more, I wonder if I should have gone more that other colour actually on the inside, and then that would match with that. Oh, that goes nicely, doesn't it? Yes. Let's stick it with this one, right. So I'm chattering away to myself. It is good when you can get the papers pre-cut, because then just to go ahead now and stick elements down. Takes no time at all. I think the worst thing is planning which papers are going where. I always say that about a project. Planning where the papers are going to go is the bit that takes the longest. Definitely. But isn't that a lovely problem to have, where the papers are going to go? Right, let's put that one. That just needs a little slither taken off there. See, it still happens. I just need that little piece off. Not a lot, but makes that difference, because we want it to fold down nicely, don't we? So over onto this stage now. I've got green here. I wonder if I should have had that bigger one on there, because that's smaller. I think I should have done. Oh, let's swap quickly, let's swap. Let's pull that off quickly. And let's pop that. See, that's too tall. Let me take a slither off here. Oh dear. There we go. That's it, that's better. I'm going to put that bigger bit on the inside of there, I think. That's why that bit was bigger and needed a bit taken off. See, if I hadn't taken that slither off, that would have been okay. Never mind. It will be alright. It's just a piece of paper, Dawn. Don't worry about it. There we go. On there. Press that down. And that down. Let's fold these open here now. Let's see what I've got. So I think I'm going to take that piece off there now too. That's why that piece felt too big. I should have numbered them, shouldn't I? Something I've done in the past with you. Or use my little sticky notelets as my little tabbies, sticky tabbies on the back. That's what I should have done. But there we go. Right, I think we're on there now. Put a bit more glue on that because that's dried out a little bit. Just beautiful papers. So the papers I'm using here, some of you may be asking, I have said at the beginning, but some of you may be wondering, it's Mulberry Kisses by First Edition. You can get it from Trimcraft, which I know their products are available in a lot of the UK craft shops, but you may not be able to get it if you're not in the UK, so I will just say that you might get it online, but for what you're going to pay for shipping, just to let you know that. There we go. Then this one here. And then the only thing I would have left to do is what I call the final decoration, which means my front covers. Now I've done these as little pocket or little booklets here, just to give you some variation, a bit like the first one I did, where it meant that you could interchange and do your own thing. That's the nice thing about this one as well. So let me just fold this all up. This needs to just have time to dry, and then I'm just going to put a little bit of decoration on the front, not too much, because at the end of the day I want to be able to pop that in my handbag, or I could stack a few of those on a shelf like that. So if they're too bulky embellishment wise, I won't be able to do that. But doesn't that sit nicely in the hand? Nice little project to give to somebody. You know, you could fill that with pictures if you've had a day out with them, if it's been a wedding or an event you've been to. How lovely to do that. So it hasn't taken long to decorate. I'll just go ahead and get the front decoration done, and then we'll have a walkthrough. Right, I've gone ahead and finished decorating the front of my mini brag wallet. I've kept it quite simple. I've just done a raffia bow, a little plaque there so I can pop what photographs are in there, and just added a couple of buttons. And then when you open it inside, the only extra thing that I've gone and done is I've added a couple of little booklets here, ideal for adding some journaling on there, or if you're giving this as a gift, a great way of writing a little greeting in here as well. So just, you know, just little places you can add these extra little elements to it. So I hope you'll agree that this anniversary mini brag wallet is quite cute. I'm really pleased with it, and I want to thank you all again for crafting with me over the last 3 years. I've thoroughly enjoyed bringing my projects to you and hearing your comments, and please do comment if you watch a video, because it's lovely to see what you think about it, or where I could change it, or things I could do. So I'm really pleased with how this has come out. I used ends of a paper collection I'd got to decorate this, as you know, and this was the project that I'd originally done with it, and it was my photo folio number 4. So this was the paper collection that I'd used for photo folio number 4. So I've managed to get 2 projects at 1 pattern paper pad, and I've even got enough paper to make another one of my anniversary wallets. So I'm really pleased there. So out of 48 sheets of 8x8 pattern papers, I can do the photo folio and 2 of the anniversary wallet. So really pleased there. And as you know me, I like to be quite frugal when I craft. But don't just think about using things to match. I mean, that does match and that's beautiful, but also think about other papers that you may have stashed away. Again, this is a paper collection. This was the Stationer's Desk from Prima. Again, a project I'd done before, had some paper left over, and the great thing about the anniversary wallet is, because you're using smaller elements of your pattern papers, I could go ahead and use the bits of paper that I had left to put this little project together. So a great way of using your scraps up that you've got left. I've got a bit of the Stationer's Desk in here that I've used. I've got a little bit of the Graphic 45 typography in here that I've used. You know, so go through what you've got left in your crafty stash. Get them all out. Have a go. You know, it's just a great way with not even 3 full sheets of 12 by 12 pattern paper to make this anniversary wallet. And as you can see, just by changing the paper collection, the different feel that this would have. So great way to add pictures for an event, or to give as a gift. You know, sometimes we go out for the day and we have our photographs on our telephones and our computers. Get them off, get them printed out, make little projects like this and get them stuck down so everybody can share and enjoy them. Use your little brag wallets. Go on, get them out your handbag and show all your friends. They're a lovely addition. I thoroughly enjoyed making them. They stack nicely. So again, something else you could make a few of and stack them on your desk. Perfect for that. And if I bring in the original that I did 3 years ago, my filming has come a long way in the last 3 years. I think you will agree. So that's the original one. So very similar in size, as you can see, but I've made this anniversary one a little bit fatter. So I do hope you've enjoyed crafting along with me and making yours. So I'm Dawn from Dawn's Inspirations. do stay in and keep tuned in to my YouTube channel. Pop over to my website and you can see all the other things I get up to. So thank you once again, and here's to many more years of crafting along with you. Thank you very much. Bye bye for now.